Honourable Ruth Dyson.
Mr Speaker, I want to begin by commending the Labour members on the Regulations Review Committee, Charles Chauvel, Moana Maki and Jacinda Ardern, and thank them for the way they have considered the complaints that came before them a little while ago. I also want to commend New Zealand Organisation for Rare Disorders, particularly John Foreman, who brought the complaint to the attention of the Regulations Review Committee. I understand that Mr Foreman is listening to the debate, and I think he should give a big pat on the back to himself for the work that he did in ensuring that this very important issue received some attention of Parliament, even though the issue will be unable to be progressed. He has done his work on behalf of other people, and there are too few New Zealanders who do that, so he should be commended by the whole of Parliament. And I want to acknowledge and thank Moana Maki for moving this motion to disallow the food standard. Mr Speaker, we've heard from numerous members of the House already on this debate, but unfortunately members of the National Party, a member of the Green Party, and in fact a member of the Māori Party have repeated the basis of the campaign in opposition to the addition of folate to our bread, and the information that they have given to the House is incorrect. The campaign in opposition to the addition of folate was based on lies. It was a deliberate campaign. It was an orchestrated campaign. It was a totally unscientific campaign. It was a campaign driven by a small number of people in New Zealand, but because an orchestration of lies was conducted as part of the campaign, a number of the public were understandably disturbed by it. Mr Speaker, in that situation, it seems to me that politicians of courage and principle and integrity would stand up to people who were lying, would stand up on behalf of the truth and make some effort to explain it. That is not what is happening, because the Minister responsible for food safety is a weak Minister and was prepared to do as she was told by the Prime Minister, make an untidy situation just go away, rather than standing up for truth and for healthier babies being born in New Zealand. And to me, that's actually not a big ask. I think it's something that any politician of courage and integrity would do, and the Minister responsible proved that she had neither. I think it's a great loss of opportunity for our country. Well, Mr Speaker, I want to get to the nub of the issue about why folate was being proposed to be put back into bread, because actually it's already in there, but during the manufacture of bread it is lost as part of the processing. So if we want to get to the whole natural state, as Sue Kedgley was indicating, then we would be doing this, because what we're doing is putting it back when it was taken out during the process of producing bread. Well, what happens if a pregnant woman doesn't have enough vitamin B9 in her diet during the term of her pregnancy? Well, one of the things that happens is that the fetus might not be able to be carried to full term, and often quite late in the pregnancy, the woman miscarries. That's a pretty hard thing for a woman and her partner to go through, a miscarriage at any time of the pregnancy, but particularly in a late one, as a result of the neural tube defects caused by the lack of folate in her diet. One cause, one remedy. This government, the National Party, said no. So it doesn't matter if a pregnant woman has a miscarriage of a baby she wanted. We're not going to worry about trying to prevent that. Well, I think that's wrong. I think that's a wrong decision to make. The parents may choose to have their pregnancy terminated because of the impairment of that child. And that is not an easy decision for them to make either. Or the baby could be born with spina bifida. Well, I want to make it crystal clear, Mr Speaker, that this is not a debate about reducing the value of the citizenship and worth of any person in New Zealand with spina bifida. That is not what this debate is about. This debate is about ensuring that when we as a parliament have an opportunity to reduce impairment, reduce ill health, then we should take it. It doesn't mean that anyone who has spina bifida is any less worthy a person than anyone without. In the same way as we would no longer encourage women to take thalidomide. We wouldn't do that anymore. That says nothing to reduce the value of people who were born with impairment as a result of their mother having thalidomide. We just wouldn't continue to do it, knowing the effect. Mr. Speaker, I referred earlier on to the misinformation that drove the orchestrated campaign on behalf of the bakers against the addition of vitamin B to our bread, a situation which the United States, land of the free, land of consumer choice, leading light for non-intervention. The United States has had mandatory folate addition in their bread for years because they know the health outcomes are better as a result. But let me get back to the misinformation. The member for Hamilton referred, and some other members did too, referred to consumer choice. Consumers have to have the ability to choose whether they want to eat bread with folate added, in case they might not like it or something. They don't want their cells to divide. For some reason, we're suddenly obsessed with consumer choice. Well, I want to tell Mr. McIndoe, some women don't know they're pregnant. Some women don't know they're pregnant. This will be gobsmacking news to the member, I'm sure. And if they don't know they're pregnant for a month or 2 or 3, it's too late for them to take up their consumer choice option of adding folate to their diet. It's too late. And hundreds of women in New Zealand don't know they're pregnant until it's too late for that additional folate to make a difference to the neural tube situation of the fetus they are carrying. That's why consumer choice is a load of hogwash in this debate, and the member should know better. The other term we heard was about mass medication. Mass medication, giving a vitamin to people who might not need it. What a terrible thing to consider when the reason we're doing it for is for the health and well-being of unborn babies. I personally think that the possibility of having a little bit too much vitamin B9 in your diet is worth the risk for the health of babies who have no choice at all about what their mother eats, but we have the ability to change their future. Some members repeated the absolute nonsense that women would have to eat 11 slices of bread every day for the whole of their pregnancy in order to make a difference, and that rubbish being perpetuated in a grown-up adult parliament is a disgrace. They would need to eat 11 slices of bread if they ate nothing else. That might be the case for some people. I personally don't know anyone who only eats bread, but that might be the situation. It is rubbish to say that that would be the case in order to meet the required level of vitamin B9 to make a difference to the health of that woman's unborn child. It is just rubbish. The previous speaker also talked about the United Kingdom. We should follow their example and introduce voluntary addition of folate to bread. Well, our bakers actually refused to do that. They said they wanted it mandatory. They said they didn't want to go along with the voluntary code because they were nervous about the nonsense that was actually spoken on their behalf during this debate, and they then thought that people would not buy folated addition bread and so the whole purpose would be defeated. But in the United Kingdom, that was not the debate. The debate was at which point of the food processing to add it, to flour or bread. Mr. Speaker,